The alarm blared through the small vessel as Owen Quinn's eyes snapped open, his body jolting upright from the makeshift cot that had been his bed for the past 3 months. Something was wrong. The steady hum of the ship's engines had changed pitch, and the artificial gravity seemed to be fluctuating. "Computer, status report," he croaked, his voice still rough from sleep. "Alert. Unidentified vessel detected. Approach vector indicates intercept course. ETA 3 minutes. Owen cursed under his breath. He was supposed to be on a routine solo mining expedition in the Kuiper Belt, far from any established shipping lanes. No one should be out here. "Show me," he commanded, and a holographic display flickered to life above his control console. The approaching ship was unlike anything he had ever seen. It had no recognizable human design, elements, no thrusters, no navigational lights, nothing that indicated it was built by human hands. Its surface seemed to shimmer and shift, almost as if it were alive. "First contact," Owen whispered to himself. "Computer, initiate first contact protocols." First contact protocols initiated, broadcasting universal greeting on all frequencies. Owen scrambled to make himself presentable. His 3-month beard and unwashed flight suit weren't exactly diplomatic attire, but they would have to do. He ran a hand through his disheveled brown hair and took a deep breath. The computer's voice cut through his thoughts. "Warning. Unknown energy signature detected. The vessel is scanning our hull." Before Owen could respond, the lights flickered and the ship's systems went dark. A moment later, the emergency power kicked in, bathing the cabin in dim red light. "Computer, what's happening?" No response. A strange tingling sensation washed over his skin, and Owen realized he was being transported. His molecules were being disassembled and reassembled somewhere else, a technology humans had theorized but never mastered. When the tingling stopped, Owen found himself in a vast, circular chamber. The walls pulsed with an eerie blue light, and the air smelled of something metallic and unfamiliar. Before him stood 3 beings, each about 7 feet tall, with slender bodies covered in what appeared to be a combination of scales and feathers in various shades of green and purple. Their heads were oblong, with no visible nose, but 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern and a small slit where a mouth would be. "Human," one of them said, the word somehow forming in Owen's mind, rather than being heard by his ears. "You have entered restricted space." Owen raised his hands in a universal gesture of peace. "I apologize. I didn't know this region was restricted. I'm on a mining expedition authorized by the Earth Alliance." The aliens exchanged glances, their 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The one in the middle stepped forward. "I am Zexel, chief scientist of the Novan Collective. This area has been quarantined due to dangerous radiation levels. Your primitive vessel should not have survived passage." Owen frowned. "Radiation? My ship's sensors didn't detect anything unusual." "Your sensors are inadequate," Zexel stated, his mental voice tinged with what Owen interpreted as disdain. "The radiation in this region is fatal to carbon-based life forms. Even brief exposure causes severe cellular damage." Another alien stepped forward, his scales a deeper shade of green. "I am Terran, xenobiologist. We must examine you immediately to assess the damage. The radiation should have already begun to affect your cellular structure." Owen glanced down at his own body, confused. "I feel fine." "Impossible," Terran insisted. "The radiation would be affecting you at the molecular level. The damage may not be immediately apparent to your primitive senses, but it is certainly occurring." The third alien, who had remained silent, now approached. "I am Vexar, medical officer. Please come with me. We must begin treatment immediately if there is any hope of saving your life." Owen hesitated, but realized he had little choice. He was on their ship, surrounded by advanced technology he didn't understand. "All right, but I really do feel fine." Vexar led him to an adjacent chamber where a translucent pod awaited. The pod appeared to be filled with a gelatinous substance that glowed faintly. "Please remove your protective coverings and enter the diagnostic chamber," Vexar instructed. "You mean, get naked and climb into that thing?" Owen asked, suddenly self-conscious. "Yes, your artificial skin would interfere with our scans." "It's not artificial skin, it's clothing," Owen explained, but began to undress anyway, down to his underwear. "I'm keeping these on," he said firmly, pointing to his boxers. Vexar seemed to acquiesce, and Owen carefully climbed into the pod. The gel was warm and surprisingly comfortable, enveloping his body like a liquid blanket. "Remain still," Vexar commanded as the pod sealed itself around Owen. Owen felt a gentle vibration as various lights pulsed through the gel. It lasted for several minutes before the pod opened again, allowing him to step out. The three aliens were huddled together, examining what appeared to be holographic representations of Owen's body. "Fascinating," Terran said. "The radiation has indeed affected him, but not in the way we expected." "His skin shows signs of damage," Zexil noted, particularly on the exposed area's face, neck, and arms. "Damage?" Owen asked, looking down at his arms. They did appear slightly red, but nothing serious. "You mean my sunburn?" The aliens turned to him simultaneously, their four eyes blinking in unison. "Explain this term." "Sunburn," Zexil demanded. Owen scratched his head. "It's just what happens when human skin gets too much exposure to ultraviolet radiation from a star our sun, in my case. Before I left, I spent a few days outdoors preparing my equipment. Got a bit too much sun, that's all." "You are saying," Terran began slowly, "that your species regularly endures radiation exposure that causes visible tissue damage." "Well, yeah," Owen shrugged. "It's not a big deal. It'll peel a bit and then heal up in a few days." The aliens exchanged what Owen could only interpret as alarmed glances. "Impossible," Vexar stated flatly. "The radiation levels you've been exposed to should be lethal." "Maybe to your species," Owen suggested. "Humans have evolved with our sun's radiation. We can handle a certain amount of it. Too much is dangerous, sure, but a little sunburn is just an annoyance." Zexil approached Owen, his four eyes examining him closely. "Show us this healing process." "It takes time," Owen explained. "A few days, maybe a week, depending on how bad it is. This is pretty mild." "We shall observe you during this time," Zexil decided. "Your resilience to radiation could provide valuable scientific data." Owen frowned. "Wait, you're keeping me here? I need to get back to my ship. I have a schedule to keep." "Your vessel has been brought aboard our research station," Terran informed him. "It is being decontaminated and examined. You will remain here under observation." Owen's frustration mounted. "Look, I appreciate your concern, but I'm telling you, I'm fine. Humans deal with sunburns all the time. It's not a medical emergency." To demonstrate his point, Owen pressed a finger against the reddened skin on his forearm. It turned white for a moment before returning to its reddish hue. "See? Just a sunburn." Vexar approached with what appeared to be a handheld device. "May I take a small tissue sample? Our analysis suggests your cells have some type of radiation resistance we have not encountered before." Owen sighed but extended his arm. "Fine, but be quick about it." The device touched his skin, and Owen felt a brief sting before Vexar withdrew it, now containing what looked like a tiny piece of his skin. "Thank you," Vexar said, moving to place the sample in another device across the room. "So, while we're waiting for your analysis, mind telling me more about this radiation you're so worried about?" Owen asked, trying to maintain a casual tone despite his growing concern about being held captive. Zexil gestured toward a wall that suddenly became transparent, revealing the vastness of space beyond. In the distance, Owen could see a faint purple nebula, pulsing with what appeared to be electrical discharges. "The Kronos Nebula," Zexil explained. "It emits a form of radiation unknown in most of the galaxy. It disrupts molecular bonds in most carbon-based life forms, causing rapid cellular degradation." Owen studied the nebula with newfound interest. "And you think I've been exposed to this?" "Your trajectory took you through the outer edge of the nebula's radiation field," Terran confirmed. "By our calculations, you received enough exposure to cause severe damage to your cellular structure. Yet you show only minor epidermal irritation," Vexar added, returning from his analysis station. "Preliminary results suggest your cellular repair mechanisms are remarkably robust." Owen couldn't help but laugh. "It's just a sunburn, guys. Nothing special about it." The aliens stared at him in what seemed like confusion. "Your amusement is puzzling," Zexil stated. "You have been exposed to potentially lethal radiation." Owen's laughter grew. "I'm sorry, but from my perspective, this is like telling someone they might die from a paper cut. Sunburns are such a common, minor thing for humans. As Owen continued to laugh, he noticed the aliens exchanging glances again, their body language suggesting they were communicating silently among themselves. Finally, Zexel spoke again. "We would like to study this further. Would you consent to remain in our facility for a short period of observation?" Owen's laughter subsided. "Define short period. I have obligations back on Earth." 7 of your Earth days should be sufficient, Terran suggested. "This would allow us to observe the healing process you described." Owen considered his options. He was already behind schedule on his mining operation, but the opportunity to learn about an advanced alien civilization and possibly establish formal first contact was too significant to pass up. "All right," he agreed. 7 days, but I need to send a message to my company explaining the delay." "That can be arranged," Zexel confirmed. "We will prepare suitable accommodations for you." Over the next few days, Owen became the center of attention aboard the alien research station. Scientists from various disciplines came to observe him, particularly fascinated by the sunburn that gradually began to peel, revealing fresh pink skin underneath. Vexar seemed especially intrigued, constantly taking readings and samples. "Your cells contain mechanisms that actively repair radiation damage," the medical officer explained on the 3rd day. "We have nothing comparable in our physiology." Owen, now dressed in a lightweight garment provided by the aliens, shrugged. "Evolution, I guess. Earth's sun puts out a lot of radiation, and we developed ways to deal with it." "But you said your species actively seeks sunlight," Terran interjected, having become something of a constant companion to Owen. "Some of your people even deliberately expose themselves to increase melanin production for aesthetic purposes." "Tanning, yeah," Owen confirmed. "Some people like the look of tanned skin. Others just enjoy the warmth of the sun." "Deliberate radiation exposure for pleasure," Zexel mused, joining the conversation. "Remarkable." As the days passed, Owen found himself genuinely enjoying the company of the alien scientists. They were curious about all aspects of human life, and he in turn learned about their civilization, the Novan Collective, a federation of worlds spanning several star systems, dedicated to scientific advancement and exploration. On the 5th day, Zexel approached Owen with what appeared to be excitement. "We have developed a theory based on our study of your cellular structure," the chief scientist announced. "The radiation resistance of your species might be adaptable to our own." "Really?" Owen asked, genuinely surprised. "How would that work?" "Your DNA contains sequences that code for specialized repair enzymes," Vexar explained. "We believe we can synthesize these enzymes and develop a treatment that would allow our people to withstand the radiation of the Kronos Nebula." "That's incredible," Owen said, suddenly realizing the significance of this discovery. "This could open up whole new regions of space for your exploration." "Indeed," Zexel agreed, "and it would not have been possible without your cooperation." Owen felt a swell of pride. Happy to help advance science, even if it was just by getting a sunburn. On the morning of the 7th day, Owen was preparing to return to his ship when an alarm sounded throughout the station. Terran rushed into his quarters, the alien scales shifting to a pale blue color that Owen had come to recognize as distress. "We have an emergency," Terran announced. "A research vessel has become stranded within the nebula. Their propulsion system has failed, and their radiation shielding is deteriorating." "Can't you send a rescue ship?" Owen asked, already guessing the answer. "Our vessels cannot withstand the nebula's radiation long enough to complete a rescue operation," Terran explained. "The crew will die before we can reach them." Owen thought quickly. "What about my ship? You said you were studying it. Is it still functional?" Zexel entered the room, apparently having overheard. "Your vessel's primitive design actually provides an advantage in this situation. Its systems are less susceptible to the nebula's radiation interference." "Then I'll go," Owen offered without hesitation. "I can pilot my ship into the nebula and rescue the crew." "The radiation levels are much higher in the nebula's core than at its edges," Vexar warned, joining the others. "Even with your species' resilience, prolonged exposure could cause serious harm." "How long would the mission take?" Owen asked. "Approximately 6 of your Earth hours," Zexel calculated, "but the radiation dose would be significant." Owen considered this. "So I might get a bad sunburn. I'll take that chance if it means saving lives. The aliens exchanged glances, their mental communication almost palpable. We cannot ask this of you, Zexel finally stated. You're not asking, I'm offering, Owen insisted. Now, let's move quickly, we're wasting time. The next hour was a flurry of activity as Owen's ship was prepared for the rescue mission. Vexar provided him with a medication that might offer additional protection against the nebula's radiation, though the medical officer admitted its efficacy in humans was uncertain. This should help your cellular repair mechanisms work more efficiently, Vexar explained, as Owen injected the cleared liquid into his arm as instructed. But the dose must be carefully controlled. Too much could cause adverse effects. Understood, Owen acknowledged, rolling down his sleeve. Let's hope it works. Zexel provided navigational coordinates and communication frequencies for the stranded vessel, uploading them directly to Owen's ship's computer. The vessel contains 4 of our scientists. Their life support systems will fail in approximately 10 hours. I'll have them out in 6, Owen promised as he climbed aboard his ship. As the launch bay doors opened, revealing the purple glow of the nebula in the distance, Owen felt a mix of apprehension and determination. His ship might not be as advanced as the Novan vessels, but it was sturdy and reliable, a workhorse that had never let him down. Good luck, human Owen Quinn. Terran's voice came through the communication system. Your courage honors your species. Thanks, Owen replied simply, then engaged the engines and piloted his ship toward the nebula. As he entered the outer edges of the nebula, Owen immediately noticed the increased radiation readings on his instruments. The purple gases swirled around his ship, occasionally flashing with electrical discharges that made his navigation screens flicker. An hour into the journey, Owen began to feel the effects of the radiation. His skin tingled uncomfortably, and he developed a headache that grew steadily worse. But he pressed on, focused on the coordinates of the stranded vessel. Owen Quinn to Novan research vessel, he transmitted as he approached the coordinates. Do you copy? For several tense moments, there was no response. Then a weak signal broke through the static. Human vessel, this is research ship Thalax. We receive you. Our systems are failing. Hold tight, Owen responded, pushing his engines harder. I'm coming to get you. When he finally reached the stranded vessel, Owen could see that it was in worse shape than expected. Parts of its hull appeared to be deteriorating, affected by the nebula's radiation. He maneuvered his ship alongside and extended his airlock to create a connection. The process of transferring the 4 Novan scientists to his vessel took longer than anticipated. They were weakened by radiation exposure, their scales dull and flaking. Owen had to physically help each one through the airlock, a task made more difficult by his own growing weakness. By the time all 4 aliens were safely aboard, Owen was struggling to focus. His vision blurred occasionally, and his movements had become clumsy. The radiation exposure was affecting him more severely than a simple sunburn now. Return course plotted, he announced to his passengers, who had collapsed in the cargo hold, the only space large enough to accommodate them. Hang on. This might get bumpy. The journey back seemed to take forever. Owen fought against the increasingly severe headache and nausea, forcing himself to remain conscious and focused on piloting. His skin had gone from tingling to burning, and he could see that his exposed arms were now an angry red, with some areas beginning to blister. When the research station finally came into view, Owen felt a wave of relief. He'd made it. But as he initiated docking procedures, his vision darkened around the edges, and he knew he was losing consciousness. The last thing he remembered was hearing the airlock seal and Terran's voice calling his name. Owen woke in the transparent pod again, his body immersed in the warm gel. This time, however, he could feel that something was different. The gel seemed to be actively working on his skin, cooling the burn and easing the pain. When the pod finally opened, Vexar was waiting. You have been unconscious for 26 Earth hours, the medical officer informed him. The radiation exposure was severe. Owen tried to sit up and was surprised to find he could do so without much difficulty. Looking down at his arms, he saw the redness had already begun to fade, though some blisters remained. The treatment appears to be working, Vexar observed. We synthesized a gel based on your own cellular repair mechanisms, enhanced with compounds from our pharmacology. The scientists I rescued? Owen asked, his voice hoarse. They will recover, Vexar assured him. Thanks to you, they received treatment in time. Zexel and Taryn entered the medical bay, both appearing more vibrant than Owen had seen them before. "Owen Quinn," Zexel began formally, "the Novan Collective owes you a debt of gratitude. Your actions have saved 4 valuable lives." "Just doing what anyone would do," Owen replied, though he suspected that wasn't entirely true. "Perhaps what any human would do," Taryn suggested. "Your species' resilience continues to astonish us. While the radiation affected you severely, your body was already beginning repairs before our treatment." "We've been analyzing the data from your rescue mission," Zexel continued. "The radiation levels you endured would have killed any of our species within minutes, yet you remained functional for hours." Owen managed a small smile. "To be fair, it was a bit worse than a sunburn this time." The aliens exchanged glances, and Owen realized they were beginning to understand his humor. "Yes," Zexel agreed. "What you experienced was significantly more severe than the sunburn you initially demonstrated, yet you treated both with similar dismissiveness." "Humans adapt," Owen explained, slowly standing from the pod. "It's what we do best. We evolved on a planet with everything from scorching deserts to frozen tundra, with predators and diseases and natural disasters. We had to be tough to survive." "Your adaptability is impressive," Taryn acknowledged, "and valuable. The Novan Collective would be interested in establishing formal relations with your Earth Alliance." Owen's eyebrows shot up in surprise. "Really? Just because I got a bad sunburn and lived to tell about it?" "Because you demonstrated a quality our people have lost over millennia of technological advancement," Zexel clarified. "The willingness to risk oneself for others, combined with the physical resilience to survive such risks. Your rescue mission has given us more than just saved lives," Vexar added. "The data we collected has already led to breakthroughs in radiation protection technology. We believe we can now develop shielding that will allow safe exploration of the Kronos Nebula." Owen felt a surge of pride. "Well, I'm glad something good came out of all this." "More than you know," Zexel stated. "The Kronos Nebula contains rare elements that could revolutionize energy production and space travel. Your sunburn may have unlocked a new age of exploration for the Collective." Over the next few days, as Owen continued to heal, discussions began about establishing formal contact between humanity and the Novan Collective. Owen found himself in the unexpected role of ambassador, explaining human culture and history to the fascinated aliens. For their part, the Novans shared knowledge that would benefit humanity: more efficient energy systems, advanced medical techniques, and safer methods of space travel. 2 weeks after his rescue mission, Owen was fully healed and ready to return to Earth. His mining expedition had been abandoned, but he had something far more valuable to bring home: the beginning of an alliance with an advanced alien civilization. As he prepared to depart, Zexil, Taryn, and Vexar came to bid him farewell. "The official delegation will follow your coordinates to Earth within 1 of your months," Zexil informed him. "They will bring formal proposals for cooperation between our peoples." "I'll make sure Earth is ready," Owen promised. "Though I'm not sure anyone will believe my story until they see you for themselves." "We have provided data recordings of your time here," Taryn assured him, handing over what looked like a small crystal. "This should convince your authorities." Vexar stepped forward with a small container. "This contains the radiation treatment we developed based on your biology. It might prove useful for your people in space exploration." Owen accepted the gifts with gratitude. "Thank you for everything." "It is we who should thank you," Zexil insisted. "Your accidental intrusion into our research zone has benefited both our peoples." "All because of a sunburn," Owen laughed. "Not just a sunburn," Taryn corrected, "but what it represented: your species' remarkable ability to withstand conditions that would be lethal to others, and to treat such dangers with adaptive humor rather than fear." Owen smiled, remembering how he'd laughed when the aliens had first expressed their concern over his mild sunburn. Sometimes laughter is the best medicine. As his ship departed from the Novan research station, Owen couldn't help but reflect on the strange turn his mining expedition had taken. What had begun as a routine mission had transformed into humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization, all because some alien scientists had mistaken a sunburn for a lethal radiation injury. By the time Earth came into view on his navigation screen, Owen had prepared his report for the Earth Alliance authorities. He knew they would be skeptical at first, but the Novan data crystal contained all the evidence they would need. Humanity was about to enter a new era of interstellar cooperation, and it had all started with a sunburn and a laugh. When Owen's ship docked at the Earth Alliance space station, he was met by a team of officials who had been alerted to his approach. Their faces showed a mixture of relief and confusion. "Mining vessel Horizon, you're 3 weeks overdue," the docking officer announced as Owen emerged from his airlock. "We were about to dispatch a search party." Owen grinned, holding up the data crystal. "I've been making friends, and boy, do I have a story to tell you." The debriefing lasted for days as Earth Alliance scientists and officials reviewed the Novan data and questioned Owen repeatedly about every aspect of his encounter. They were particularly fascinated by the radiation treatment the Novans had developed based on human biology. "So, let me get this straight," said Dr. Elaine Parker, the Alliance's chief xenobiologist. "These aliens were shocked that you could survive what they considered lethal radiation exposure? They thought a sunburn was going to kill me," Owen confirmed with a chuckle. "You should have seen their faces, or whatever you'd call them, when I laughed about it." "And this led to a breakthrough in radiation protection technology?" "Apparently," Owen nodded. They'd been studying the nebula for decades, but couldn't explore it properly because of the radiation. Human cellular repair mechanisms were the missing piece of the puzzle. As the days passed and Earth prepared for the arrival of the official Novan delegation, Owen found himself becoming something of a celebrity. The story of the man whose sunburn led to first contact made headlines worldwide. A month after his return, Owen stood on the official landing platform at the Earth Alliance headquarters in Geneva, alongside the Secretary General and various dignitaries. All eyes were on the sky as the Novan vessel, sleek and shimmering like the one that had intercepted Owen, descended through the clouds. As Zexel emerged from the ship, leading the Novan delegation, Owen stepped forward to make the formal introduction. "Secretary General, may I present Zexel, Chief Scientist of the Novan Collective, who has traveled here to establish formal relations between our peoples." The Secretary General extended a hand in greeting, then quickly remembered that the Novans did not shake hands. Instead, she bowed slightly. "Welcome to Earth. We are honored by your presence." Zexel's mental voice projected to all present, a technology the Novans had prepared specifically for this moment. "The honor is ours. Your representative, Owen Quinn, has demonstrated that humanity possesses qualities the collective values highly: courage, adaptability, and resilience." As the formal ceremonies proceeded, Owen found himself standing next to Terran, who had accompanied the delegation. "Your world is very bright," the alien observed, his scales shifting to adjust to Earth's sunlight. "I understand now why your species developed such effective radiation resistance." Owen smiled, looking up at the clear blue sky. "That's our sun, not as exotic as your Kronos Nebula, but it's home." "It is interesting," Terran continued, "how a simple misunderstanding about your species' radiation tolerance led to this moment. Had we not intercepted your vessel, had you not exhibited your sunburn, our peoples might never have connected." "Sometimes the biggest discoveries come from the smallest coincidences," Owen agreed. As the Novan delegation was escorted into the Alliance headquarters to begin formal talks, Owen remained outside for a moment, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. He thought about how something as mundane as a sunburn and irritation he'd experienced countless times in his life had become the bridge between two civilizations. He laughed quietly to himself, remembering the alien's serious concern over what any human would consider a minor discomfort. That laughter had been the first true communication between their species, a demonstration of humanity's unique perspective that had ultimately led to understanding and cooperation. The sun continued to shine down, its radiation touching his skin just as it had for billions of years of human evolution, shaping his species into the resilient, adaptable beings that could now reach out to the stars and find their place among other intelligent life forms. Owen took a deep breath and turned to follow the delegation inside. The future was bright indeed, even if it might occasionally come with a sunburn,